In this lesson, we're going to be doing a genre study with a town theme to start off with. Now, this genre study is going to be broken into a couple of parts. The first part is I'm going to look at two classic town themes, break them down using an understanding of music theory so we can actually figure out what makes a town theme sound like a town theme. In the second part of this lesson, I am then going to, with that understanding, make a brand new town theme and talk you through the steps as I go through it so you can actually go through step by step and make your own town theme using this understanding. The goal of this video is to show you how to take any music you want to understand from any game that has ever been created and then make something that is related to it. So if it's a boss theme, if it's a character theme, if it is little stingers, if it's a low health added layer onto something, whatever it is, you're going to be able to use the principles of how I go through everything in this lesson for yourself to make any music from any genre of video game music from any point in time in history. And once you understand the components, it's not going to be about, let's say, taking inspiration from the greats. You're actually just going to sit down and have ideas yourself. So with that being said, let's jump in. The two themes we're going to be using today for our town theme are the classics, Kakariko Village and Pallet Town, which, as far as I know, the earliest instance of it is in A Link to the Past. And Pallet Town, again, the earliest instance I know of it is from Pokémon Red, Yellow, and Blue on the Game Boy Advance and the Game Boy Color. Indeed, back in the day. Remember the Game Boy Color. So we're going to look at both of these. We're going to break them down using music theory understanding. Then I'm going to create my first town theme, and also want you to understand that I've never created a town theme before. So I also want this video to be proof to you that if you have an understanding of music theory and just a pinch of curiosity to go out and listen to some other music, you're going to be able to create so many different types of music. Now you might be saying, Dan, you seem awfully confident for someone who's never made a town theme before that you're going to be able to make a town theme that sounds halfway decent. And you know what? I am. In fact, I would say I'm 100% confident I'm going to, after understanding what makes a town theme, be able to make something that is, most people are going to agree, a decent town theme. At the very least. Some people might call it good. Some people might call it great. Some people might not be a fan. But most people are going to agree it's at least okay. Why am I confident with that? Well, it's because I understand music theory and I know how to use music theory to reverse engineer what other people have done so I can take inspiration and not copy them, but take the principles of what made their sound the way it did, understand, synthesize, break down those principles within myself, and then go create something original that is my own, following some or all or none of those principles. Let's rock and roll. So what I've got here is a version of the instrument study template you may have remembered from our instrumental inspiration course if you've been through that. And if you haven't, I would recommend going through it. It's all about how to use digital audio workstations to create music and game music. Very easy to do it in a digital audio workstation. So we're going to start with some analysis. We're going to go with form, tempo, key, time signature, what feeling, harmony, chord progression, rhythms, melodies, and there might be some more things that I'm going to think of along the way that we're going to add to this list. And of course, I'm going to have this list in a templated form ready for you to use with all the learnings that I discover through this process. So this is just the list of things I know for a fact I'm going to want to know, and there may be some other things that I didn't know that I want to know along the way. So here we go. I'm going to start off playing Kakariko Village here. Now, I do have the advantage of knowing this one very well, and I've actually made sheet music for this for my website. So I believe it's actually in the key of B flat, but we'll go from here. So my first question is, what's the form? Now I'm like 98% sure it's an ABA form, and I'm gonna show you what I mean. Here's the A. Well, here's actually the intro. Here's A. All right, that was our A. Here's A again. Now we're going to the B. This is the B section. And now we're back to A. Right there. Okay. So like intro, AAB, intro, A. So it's basically an AABA. Now tempo, that's an interesting one. I know it's slow, and it actually sounds to me like it's in 12/8. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to ask the question, what time signature first, because that'll help us determine the tempo. So time signature is 12/8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 T dot 2 T dot 3 T dot 4 T dot 1 T dot 2 T dot 3 T dot 4 T dot. Now you could also think of that as being 6/8. You could also, real talk, count that as 6/8. I'm gonna call it 12/8 just so I can think of it in terms of like a 4/4 comparison. Always gonna be easier. 4/4, common. It's what I've dealt with most my entire life, playing, composing, songwriting, producing, everything. So I'm gonna think of this as being 12/8. The tempo, if it's 12/8, is gonna be, let's try 70. Actually feels a little fast. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call that approximately 69 PM. Okay, key is gonna be B flat major. And what am I doing to figure out the key? Well, I'm just listening to the music. I'm like, what's that first note? It's B flat. Something like that. It's a little out of tune. It's not A440 like perfect, but that's fine. We're about close there. What feel? Not applicable. And A. Harmony chord progression. So in the A section, we have a 1, 6, 2, 5. I'm using uppercase level 3 Roman numerals. If you haven't done level 3 music theory, I'd recommend doing levels 1, 2, and 3. All right, let's grab that. So it goes to E flat, so it's going to be 4. I'm gonna put a little tab there just so it's clear. It's like a separate section within the A. And again, that A section, we could break the A section into the intro, the A melody. It's like, how far do we want to break it down? And you can watch the Melody Machine course where I talk more about how to actually break things down and chunk things up. It's like, okay, we have the do-da, do-da, do-da. The do-da, that is fundamentally the motif, right? So ba, ba, ba. So at the fundamental level, the motif is just AAA, right? And then you kind of have the B, which is the silence. And then do-dee, don-dee-da, dun, 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 dun. So you have kind of like a BBC for the motif, right? And that's just talking about motif. So what I'm doing is I'm talking really high level at just the form. So at the form, I'm like, what are the biggest chunks that I can point out? So the biggest chunks I can point out is going to be this AABA structure here. And so what I'm figuring out is what goes on within the A. So with the A, we have the 1, 6, 2, 5 that happens 2 times. Then we come here to the 4. So that's 4, 5, 1, 6. 4, 5, 1, 6. And you can do your level 1, level 2, level 3 ear training along with your level 1, 2, 3 music theory, which will help you figure out what's going on here a lot faster. However, the best ear training, real talk, is what I'm doing right here. It's like sit down with something you feel motivated to figure out and figure it out. In my opinion, the best training. The most progress I've ever made in ear training is when I had something I was really motivated to figure out. And then I sat down and I figured it out. It might take you 2 hours to figure out the first 3 seconds or 4 seconds, but do it. You're connecting your mind to the music that you hear. And that building that connection is very valuable. And then it's just 2, 5, 1, and then 1 repeats. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and now let's figure out what's going on in our B section. So in the B section, we have a 5 of 4. That's going to take us to 4, obviously. In this case, it's like a 4 sharp 4 type thing. What's interesting is like, okay, it leads us second ending. So I'm going to say up here, second ending. Now you could write all this out on a staff. It's a little easier for me to do it like this. And then we have a 1 in first inversion. Let's do 5, 1. Yeah, and then back to the 5 of 4. 2, 5, 1, 5 of 4. Bum, bum, bum. We repeat that twice. Huh. Literally the same thing 2 times. Big jumps that like that's like a descending minor 7. That's a big jump. Jump minor 7. Yeah, and again, like in the B section, there's some of these big jumps. Like that octave right there. Octave jump in B section. Again, rhythm, motif, repeats. Yeah. Rhythm, motif, repeats. And let's say, what instruments? We hear strings, we hear like a soothing bass. It's not like a hard bass or growly bass. What else do we hear? We hear, it sounds like flute, woodwinds. Like glockenspiel, if I spell that right, it'll be a miracle. Oh, it was a miracle. Okay. And Yeah, soothing bass. It's also like string bass, right? It's like an upright bass, kind of. Okay. Interesting stuff there already. Now, I'm not going to jump in and break the melody down motif by motif just yet. We might get to that, but we might not get to that, and I'll tell you why. The more defined you get in how you break the thing you're getting inspired from down, it can be the more you're going to copy it. Right? So if I was to go in and really break down the melody into every single little thing, then I'm really inviting myself to have that top of mind as I head into the creation of this lesson. And I actually don't want that. I just want the big broad brushstrokes. Like, what key are we in? What are the chord progressions? What's one or two key things that's making the melody sound the way it does? What are one or two key things in terms of the instruments that are being used? What's the tempo? What's the time signature? That's all I want, because I'm already getting so much like emotional ideas just based off of listening to this, and you will too for whatever music you're listening to. You're already going to get like emotional feelings from the music. That is what you really want to bring your own spark to, your own ideas to. At least in my opinion. All right, let's check out Pallet Town. Yeah, it's like a lullaby too. Both of these are like a lullaby. So I would add like extra notes. Lullaby, safety. In Pokemon, you're not running into any Pokemon in the town. In A Link to the Past, there's no soldiers in the town. It's like, well, spoilers. I mean, at first. I think at one point soldiers come to town, but it's a cutscene. It doesn't matter. Okay. So, let's talk about Pallet Town. We'll go back to the top here, and I'm just going to put a little star here. All right, what's the form? Right, so it's like an A-B that just goes around and around and around. I'm going to call it A-B-A, because if we were to write it like a static piece that hasn't looped yet, I might actually do it in A-B-A. In the same way that we had like 3 A's to 1 B in the Link to the Past, A-B-A is a classic way of presenting the form. Now, you might be wondering, how do I figure out what the form is? Well, the easy way is to count the measures. Like, figure out where the count is. 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, 7, 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that was the first part of A. 2, 3, 4, 10, 2, 3, 4, 11, 2, 3, 4, 12. Or maybe this is the B. 2, 3, 4. All right, we could actually call that the B. And this is why we always want to count. So it's like 8 measures of A. 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, 7, 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4, B, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, 7, 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4, back to A, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4 2 3 4 5 2 3 4 6 2 3 4 7 2 3 4 8 2 3 4 B 2 3 4 2 2 3 4 3 2 3 4 4 2 3 4 5 2 3 4 6 2 3 4 7 2 3 4 8 2 3 4 back to A, right? So you can hear every 8 measures the music is changing, going to this brand new idea. That's how I'm figuring out the form, except I'm not counting out loud. I'm just listening to it because I've been listening to so much music my whole life, and I've just been like eating, breathing, and sleeping music for the past 2 decades of my life. I'm not even counting measures. I'm hearing where those large cycles of measures are, and my brain's just picking up the pattern. Music theory is enhanced pattern recognition. That's all it is. So if it's helpful for you to count, to hear where the sections change, count. And that's also going to help you a lot when it comes to creating. Okay, so 8 measures each. Okay, time signature is 4/4. What is the tempo? Now, you will find that they're like, here, if we might actually just be able to Google this here, tempo. Yeah, all right, so here. Right, so we already got very close to the tempo here just by clicking on this tap tempo counter here. So now I'm going to adjust this up to, it said like what, 114, 110, something like that. Tap tempos are gonna get you in the neighborhood, and then you just dial in by listening and refining. Or you can import your music in and use like a tempo finder. So if I was to import this in as an MP3 or WAV file, or somehow get the audio routed into my DAW, I do have plugins that'll actually detect the tempo. Slow. Close. Right, so that's about it. Now, to really know 100% watertight what the tempo is, I'd let the metronome play through the whole thing and make sure the metronome stays synced up for like 30 seconds with it. We hear the metronome might have been starting to become a little bit unsynced there, but I'm looking for, again, broad strokes here. So I had 120 BPM. Now keep in mind that the 69 for the 12/8, because there's 3 divisions in each beat, it actually feels faster than if 4/4 was at 69. Okay, key. Dum, dum, dum. Is that where we are? Dum. Yes, it is. Dum. From the key of G major. So both of these are in major keys. Yeah, straight. Now, already something I want to note here is like counter melodies for Pallet Town. There's the main melody, and then there's all these other things that are happening where it's like, there was kind of like chords and these arpeggios sure that were happening in Kakariko Village. And yeah, we can hear the same thing here, especially in the B section. It goes to a Alberti bass style arpeggio. And there's also counter melodies going on. So if we added some counter melodies into our town themes, it's sure to sound a little bit more town themey. All right, harmony. That's interesting. So right there, two, 5, 1. It's fast too. It's 1, 2, 5, 1. Oh, maybe it's 1, 2, 3. Composer might have meant 5. I like 3. Yeah. I'm now just painting with kind of really broad strokes here. And do it 4. 4, 5, 1, 5. Very broad strokes. Let's see how that lines up. Yeah, I made up that E minor, but I like the way it sounded. I'm starting to write my own, right? I'm hearing where I want the chords versus where that composer, but it's like, I like to go to 6 there. I like that. Oh, just all minor chords from 1. That's kind of delightful. It ends on the 5, right? And then the second time it ends, so instead of being an antecedent, it creates a consequent on the last time, where it goes. Oh, I do like going to the E minor there. Right, and then the B is just 4, 5, 1, and then it does it again. Well, 1, 1, 4, 1 to B. There we go. 1, repeat it. 4, 5, 1. Da 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 da. That's 2. Da 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 da. 5 da 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 da. And then it brings us back. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Oh, we're missing. Yes, we're missing a second 5. Great. We're always looking for groups of 4 with this type of simple structure, both harmonically and melodically and song-wise. Chords being groups of 4. All right. Let's see. What do we have in terms of notes for the melody? Okay, so again, it's playing around with like these home tones. 5, 4, 3, 5, 1, 7, 7, 1, 5, 6, 5, 5. So again, home tones. But that's so pretty. Ah. Like always resolving the home tones too. It's resolving to 1, 3, or 5. Resolves to home tones. It's using chord tones too. Both of these, yeah, chord tones. That's going to be taking notes from the chord. Yeah, and then for the B section, actually goes down a little bit. So contrast in B section equals lower notes. Now instruments that we hear, this is a little tough because it's like Game Boy sounds. So it's like, yeah, we could say it's kind of like glockenspiel type sounds. Maybe piano. Yeah, I'd say piano. Piano for like that arpeggiating thing underneath. A glockenspiel for like a melody, you know, something for a counter melody. Now I'm making a jump when I say piano, by the way. I'm also making a jump when I say glockenspiel. I think the thing that's doing that really slow counterpart, we call that a woodwind, kind of like a low flute. If you're going, where are you hearing a low flute? I'm kind of making this up. I'm listening to what I'm hearing. I'm going, what does this kind of sound like? To be clear. All right, cool. So we've now gone through 2 town themes, 2 classic town themes, and learned a whole lot, both about their structure, some ideas for melodies, looked at harmony, looked at a whole bunch of things. Now it's time for us to synthesize that and make our own. For that, I will see you in the next lesson. The last lesson took me about 40 minutes to figure out what was going on in 2 different town themes. Now, being totally honest with you, if it's your first time doing this by yourself and you go off after this to break down your own 2 different things, maybe they're town themes, maybe they're night themes, maybe they're exploration themes, whatever they are, maybe they're, restricted area themes, whatever it is, it might take you a little longer than 40 minutes. Real talk. I've been doing this for a long time, so it's a little bit easier for me than it is for you. And the only reason why it's easier for me right now than it is for you is just number of hours and experience. That's all it is. There's no magic trick. There's no mythic thing. There's no magic fairy that I, threw a coin into a pond for. It's like, no, none of that. It's literally just time spent with music. So be patient with yourself, be kind with yourself. How quickly I was able to go through that, maybe be your standard for what you're going to reach for, but don't compare yourself and feel bad because of where you're at. Feel inspired of that's something to reach toward. Now, I'm going to make my first town theme ever. And again, I may move rather quickly here compared to what you might do for your first town theme. That's fine. We're going to get rocking and rolling. And again, I've never created a town theme before, so we're just going to go ahead and get started. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to map everything out first. I definitely know I want an A section, and I definitely know I want a B section. Like, clearly these are must-haves. We must have an A section, we must have a B section. Both of these have an A and B. 12, 8, 4, 4. I'm going to go 4, 4. And I'm actually going to go a little slower. I'm going to kind of split the difference here. I think I want to try something a little bit slower. And I'm going to lay down a basic chord progression first and then build from there. And what I want to do is I like this first part here, like the idea of going ooh, and we're getting fun here. See, even that was pretty cool. I kind of like that. So what I'm taking, the start of Pallet Town, which was, now I'm adding in the 6, going to 2, thinking, how can I get to 5 that's a little bit different? Maybe 1 in first inversion, then 4, and then 5, and you have this little ascending bass line thing there. That's going to be my A section chord progression. We're going to start there. I'm just going to lay this down real quick, and let's see what we got. All right, that's our A section. Let's quantize that. A little bit of a sloppy piano playing there, but that's okay. And just to make sure I can hear everything and I don't start favoring certain parts of the harmony over others, I'm going to select everything, and I'm just going to get the velocity to be about even. Yeah, I like that. It's fun. And then the second time through, we are going to resolve back to the 1. Oh yeah, and then what if the second time, what if we... I'm also realizing I just started off running toward the chord progression. I didn't even think about the melody, which is interesting. We're mapping this out. I'm getting the form together. I'll create a melody over this, and then we may come back and change this versus the melody. So I'm going to stop getting stuck in this chord progression in just a moment here after I figure out how we're getting back to the 1 here. And I liked what I just did, which was we go to 2 in first inversion, which still gets us that C in the bass, or in the key of G major. It gets us the 4 in the bass, then to 5, 1. So it kind of is like a 4, but we still have that sort of sadness, that tristesse of the A minor. And obviously, if you're programming things in by hand, it might take you a little bit longer to get everything grooving here than it is taking for me to play, but that's like years of practice on a piano to get to the point where I can do something that fast. So, you know, you take your wins where you can get them, and you may end up getting so much faster on entering your MIDI if you don't play piano that, yeah. Is it worth the years of piano for the speed? Maybe. Maybe not. Okay. Oops. And then you know what I'm going to do here too is both of these guys are a little early. There we go. And what I'm going to do here too is I'm going to go to the 4 like Kakariko Village. So I'm going to make this then a G7 here, which is the 4 of 4. Yeah. And then oh no, we're not going to be that. Yeah, that's something that Pallet Town didn't do. It really didn't do that secondary dominant thing. Let me go back and look at the chord progression for Kakariko here for the B section. Oh yeah, we could do something like that. Remember, kids, chord progressions are not protected by copyright. I also want to change the harmonic tempo here. So we might do like twice as long for all the chords. And we might end up doing a 8 or 16 measure. We'll see. Nah, don't. We got to keep it moving. Ooh. Oh, I like that. Let's get that. So what I'm doing is I'm alternating which part of the chord is moving. So in this first one, I'm going from the C to the 4 to a C major 7. And then I'm going to a G in first inversion. And then I'm just putting an A underneath. So we still have a G in first inversion in the upper part of the chord. And I'm just putting an A below it. It's a nice funk chord. Oh, yes. Oh, that's really interesting. I'm going to keep that same idea of like one thing moving at a time here. Oh, what did I do? love that. Yeah. So again, I'm moving the bass first this time. So going A minor, 2. It's now kind of like an A minor 7, so I got the flat 7 in the bass. And then I'm going to a D, sus 4, and then moving to a D. I like that. And again, it's taking turns between which part of the chord is moving. And already I'm getting like way in the weeds here, but like once ideas start flowing, go with them. I'll fix that. There we go. Oh, that is yummy. All right, and I'm just going to make that just a little bit sweeter by, number 1, joining these together. And what I'm doing with these ideas here too is I'm kind of setting up these root movements of what the bass is going to be doing. There we go. Make all these as long as each other, and then there we go. Get them all to be the same velocity. Yes. We use a transition chord right there. And we need a little something different. We're gonna have like an A, B, A, C at the level of the harmony. Also want a little something to get us. Dun, dun. Just a little something to get us. Yeah, why not? Let's see what that does. So what I'm doing here is I'm leaving the A in place, but then I'm bringing the F down. So it's going to be the flat 7 to create the secondary dominant, leading us to the 4 that we're about to go to in the next cycle through of the 8 measures for the next B. Yeah, that didn't work. All right, whatever. I'm going to leave that alone for now. Anytime you start getting stuck in the weeds, like don't get stuck in the weeds, homie. I'm also going to just copy paste this over here, and we basically have our entire loop. Now, let's see what we're going to do with the second half of this. It's a little kooky, but let's try it out. Let's also get the velocity to be about the same. Yes, okay. And let's listen to what we have now with the chord progression, see if I'm happy with how the movement of everything is. Like, I want to be happy with how everything is moving. pretty. Even all of this stuff out. There we go. And also I want the same velocity for everything, so everything's nice and even. There we go. Yeah. All right, so here's a chord idea. I don't know if we're going to keep this because now we're going to go on to the melody. And instrument choice for melody is important because how the instrument sounds can really change the choices that you're going to make for the melody. Like the timbre, the loudness, the velocity, all the different elements of just the nuances of the emotion that any individual instrument brings is going to inevitably change how you write with it, especially if you're hearing it in real time, especially if you're in a DAW. I learned this lesson playing guitar solos. You watch, and I've told this story before, but if you watch Prince at this award show, James Brown calls Prince up on stage. Prince was an incredible rock guitar solo player, and he could really shred some incredible guitar, but for that, you need this distorted sound, a little sustain. And James Brown's guitarist hands him his guitar, and his guitar is this really clean funk sound, and there's no zhuzh on it. And Prince, you see him stamp on a whole bunch of pedals, nothing happens, so he has to end up not playing this crazy, sick rock guitar, which is what really would have made that moment incredible. But you see that he makes the most of the moment with the sound that he has, but because the instrument didn't sound the way it needed to for him to do what he wanted, he couldn't actually do what he wanted. So the same thing happens here. I'm going to think a little carefully about what instrument I want to write this melody with. Do I want to write it with a violin? Do I want to write it with a flute? Do I want to write it with a glockenspiel? Right? Do I maybe want to write it here with this electric piano? Because this electric piano has this really warm sound that we could layer some glockenspiel onto it. We could layer some string behind it. I might actually just write it with this electric piano. But first, I want to hear what a violin sounds like, because if I think about Kakariko Village and how that dun 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 dun, it's like very, very simple melody. I have a feeling a violin's going to make me want to create something a little closer to that. So I'm actually going to play a little game with myself and give myself a violin, and we're going to see what happens. And it's like when I'm creating like this, I'm just being curious. I'm not getting down on myself. I'm not beating myself up if something doesn't quite work out. I'm just having fun, and I'm staying in this flow of curiosity, and I'm never getting down. I'm never saying no or that was bad or beating myself up. I'm just exploring and playing, and I'm having fun. Let's see. Let's grab us a violin. So that actually sounds like a counter melody. And it's just an interesting thing. It's like, how do I know when something sounds like a melody? It's because it sounds strong. If I play the 1, 2, 7, 1, 7, 6, this sounds like a harmony part to me. This doesn't sound like a melody part to me. So I might actually lay this down as a harmony part. If we were to make this a melody, maybe it's... yeah, maybe that's what it is. Nah, that's too close to the Pokemon. Oh, there's something there. Something. That's the counter melody. Okay, so maybe I want the violin as a counter melody because I keep on playing counter melody stuff with this violin. So I'm gonna put this violin on hold over here, and I'm gonna grab us a flute. Because what I'm looking at, I'm saying, okay, these ideas keep coming up with this violin, but what do they sound like? Do they sound like the melody? It's like, not really. They kind of sound like the counter melody. So let's find us a flute. I'm not beating myself up. I'm going, oh, that's interesting. We're going to save the violin for counter melody for later. I think also that violin might have been a little bit too loud. I have a thing about volume, man. I don't know if you have this, but if my melody is too loud over my chords, it just does something where it's like knocks me out of the zone. I wonder if we can get like an Irish... we'll try a woodwind solo first. If not, we'll get like maybe like an Irish flute might be cool. Yeah, flute. Not hearing anything. Oh, it's because I'm not selected the track. Okay. Turn off the chords. They're not helping. That fast movement at the start, I'm not liking what that's. What I'm doing right now is I'm thinking about home and I'm thinking about loving moments I've had in my life, and I'm just allowing my body to feel those and allowing my mind to be there, and then just thinking what sound fits that. It's like that G is way more loving. I like that. No? Yeah, maybe that's it. Oops. Maybe slow it down a little bit too. Yeah, still too fast. Slow that down a little bit more. Yeah. Yes. It's like that makes me feel like sitting by a roaring fire with my mom and dad and sister when I'm like 10 years old. It's like, yes. Like that no, no, at the end. Then we have the A. We're going to repeat that again, and then we'll have a C. So we're going to have like an ABAC melody here. That's real simple, but it's real pretty. Oh, so we go to the 1 sooner, maybe. No, we'll change the chords to fit the melody. Melody always comes first. I just got inspired with the chords, so we ran with it, and I had fun. No regrets. All right, let's listen to our first draft melody. Now, keep in mind, I'm not sitting here doing like multiple drafts. I'm getting my first rough draft idea out instantly, and that's what we're keeping. You know, you don't see me coming back for like 2 or 3 days after this to get everything just right. This is like one shot. I'll do G twice there. Okay, so here the chords don't quite fit anymore. We'll go back and change those. And we also know that Pokemon went a little lower in the B sections. That's what we're going to do here. We also don't have any jumps. We might come back and do some jumps like we saw from Link to the Past. Let's see what that does. Oh, that's pretty. Oh, now we're just gonna blatantly steal from A Link to the Past. We're gonna do an octave jump right here. Yep. That is 100% what I'm doing there. Okay. Vida boop bee. Yeah, that doesn't work. Something like that. Let's just try some different things out here. Ah, we're going straight D there. And then we make it back to a B. So what I'm thinking about threading this needle, I'm like, okay, I'm starting off at this D. My next starting out for my next section is a B. How am I making it back to the B? Okay. There's so much Link to the Past right there. It's so Link to the Pasty. But then it pulls out of it. Alright, we'll start with that. We may make some changes along the way. Now, I'm going to get clear on the harmony here. Right there. That's G again, yeah. Ooh, maybe that. That's very pretty. Oh, I'm keeping that. I like that. Alright, we just gotta fix this part here. What happens if we do this? Nah. We go here, but we may. Yeah, let's change this voicing here. Four, five, one, or two. Here as well. There you go. So I'm going to move it to the secondary dominant. It's the last thing it does. Right. And I want one more chord in here. Yeah. Yeah. Oops, there we go. All right, let's check out our B section here. So what I just did there is I increased the harmonic rhythm, so it's one chord per beat, starting from here. And I do this it's kind of like a G6 or an E minor here, to a C, to the 4, to a 5 sus4, to a 5, to a 1, and then to the 5 of 4. It's like very, very, very Zelda-y. and that's okay. Now, if I was really taking time on this, I would go through and I'd be adjusting the velocity for every single part of this melody to get the whole performance of the flute player to really go, and I might even bring in some automation. But we're already 49 minutes into this, and so we're not sitting here all day. I'm gonna move it forward, but keep in mind, you can go through and you can really craft every single phrase of every single instrument. Like, this might be a little softer. This might be a little louder. This would go all the way here, a little bit louder here, and then a little quieter, and then back to quiet here. This is just velocity. Too loud. And that's also about the timbre, the quality of the sound that the instrument makes. Right. And I could do that and take like an hour or two just doing that just on this flute. I'm not going to do that, however. We're doing broad strokes here. So let's see about a violin counter melody while we're here. Because that violin so wanted to play counter melodies. Let's give it exactly what it wanted and allow it to play some counter melodies. So I'm going to mix it over here. I'm going to pan it over to the left. I know the pan might not come through in the recording, but I'll create a export of this you can listen to afterwards where you can hear all the panning. And what I want to do here is I'm actually going to flip it around. So it's like we had a flute doing this sort of like longer counter notes in the Pokemon. I think it was just like half notes or whole notes, something like that. But I'm going to take that same idea here and just use it for the violin. Get a little bit more volume from this violin here. Right, I just do something very simple like this. Forget the next bit here. Something like that. And so what am I doing? I'm basically figuring out how to thread the needle of a different melody that's not the main melody, making it less complex than the main melody, having it still agree with the chords that are behind it, and also not play all the same notes as the original melody. Yeah, that's very pretty. This is from the beginning. No, I might actually speed it up. I wonder what happens if we speed it up a little bit more. No, I want a little slower. And then sometimes you'll hear the counter melody and melody hit the same notes. That's okay. Great. Grab all that. Join that up. Let's get this all a sweet velocity. That's interesting. Let's also tighten these up. Maybe just literally just hold a D there. Might be all it needs. And again, you can come back. We can change this anytime. This is rough draft, first pass. Okay. So let's check out what we've got so far. Yeah! The last time here, we're not going to go to the 7th. We'll just keep it as the 1. Okay, cool. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get our bass. So to get our bass moving, all I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new track. Which I'm going to call bass. And I'm going to grab this entire piano thing here. I come in here, I'm going to join it up, and I'm going to delete everything that's not the lowest note in every chord. And by doing that, I'm going to get my bass line. There we go. That looks to be about it. And taking a nod from A Link to the Past, I'm going to be going with a double bass, like a string bass, like a contrabass, that type of situation. Let's see if we have. We might actually just want like a strings thing and then select bass. A string ensemble. I think I want solo. That's what I want if I want anything. Okay, looks like we don't have that, so I do know something that I want. I'm gonna grab upright bass. Let's see if this is gonna be bowed. Let's look blues, groove, walk, cha-cha, Dixie. Yeah, this doesn't look like this is bowed. Yep. All right, so I'm gonna grab my Session Strings Pro, and I just want my basses. Yeah, bass is good. And I want the, performance. There we go. Yes. Okay. All right, we're actually gonna put a little bit more oomph on this bass by bringing the, there we go. That's so pretty. Ah, that is so pretty. I almost don't want to add anything to that. We'll add a little harp. And for me, because I come from rock and jazz and blues and stuff, it's like having a chord progression down first and building the counter melodies from that. I always find that more useful than thinking from a purely standpoint. I want to know what my harmony is and then weave my way through it. I'm gonna listen to this again. I might not add anything to this. This might just be like my day version of this town theme, and then I might come back and make a night version. But here, let's check this out. All right, so there's just one note in here that I would like to change. That right there. Because we have like an A in the bass, I think, yeah. And then a G. Let's see what happens with that. I'll leave it. Leave it. All right, we're going to try out adding in some harp here for chords. But yeah, it just sounds so pretty as it is. And listen, it's taken me so many years of putting way too many things into my productions, compositions, and songs, way too many elements, way too many moving parts, and way overcomplicating things to get to this place in my life where I'm like, let's not add in more things. I'm gonna see what happens. I saw there was like a Irish thing. Maybe grab an Irish harp if they have an Irish harp. Might be interesting. Let's see if we have a harp. Yes, Irish harp. Let's go, homie. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all this. I'm going to take the bass notes out and just leave the chords in. I actually think we want arpeggios here. Oh, there's even a bodhran. Oh, we are also going to test out adding a little. I know, it's just like, I've got to this place in my life where I don't add more instruments in. And then you tell me there's Irish percussion. Yo, favorite memory, sitting with my Irish aunt and uncle, and my Irish aunt, who's just like amazing, is like, I'm like, hey, let's sing some Irish songs. Like, we're all sitting around, real talk, everyone drank a couple Guinnesses, and we're sitting around, and I'm like, we should make some music. And my Irish aunt, she's like, oh, I have a legit Irish drum, and it's this thing right here. Oh my goodness. All right, anyway, back to the harp. So with the harp, I want something that's a little bit more arpeggiated, so I'm actually going to write some arpeggios in here. Yep, that type of a thing. And basically we're just going to take this and pop this through the whole thing. Copy, please. There we go. I'm saying, wow, this is a lot of manual work. Yeah, it's going to be faster than me playing it, I think. Might be nice to have this just as like a... You know, it might be cool. Because, you know, like we had an intro for... like Kakariko Village. Yeah, just repeat that twice. Yes, sir. We're getting there. Just have a G major. Yeah, might have been faster to write it. That's okay. Okay, and then I'm going to grab this first bit here. Just arpeggiate us out here. Keep it going. I think what's really cool too, it's because the range that the harp's operating at, it's acting like a second counter melody because it's actually overlapping and creating some really interesting relationships with the main melody and the counter melody that's already there with the violin. All right, let's listen to that. Oh my, what was the first chord there? Let's grab that. We got that deleted by accident. Alright, let's change the pattern here. Let's do Alberti bass. And that's also like, I believe, A Link to the Past had Alberti bass in the second half. For me, it was Pokemon. It doesn't really matter. Let's listen to that. Oh, you know what, too? I'm taking those out. Those are bass notes. Yep. And we might bring this up or down. We're going to see how much it like steps on the toes. What am I doing wrong here? Oh, there we go. We'll see how much this steps on the toes of the main melody, because this is like sitting right in the same range, using the same notes as the main melody. So far, so pretty. We'll test it up and down. Yeah, we'll actually try to bring this up an octave. I want to see what that sounds like. That's what that transition sounds like. No. Let's try it an octave down. Oops. Listen from the beginning. This needs to be moved over to the side a little more. Yeah. No, it's a little muddy, but we'll keep moving. We're gonna keep on moving. Oh, just copy paste that. Thank you. follow the bass with that. I'm gonna split this here, pop this over here, and then gotta figure out what we're doing with this. Pop this over here, and here we just won't go to the. There we go. Oh, come on. Okay. There we go. There we go. There it is. There it is. Great. Now let's just copy paste that. Boom, 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 boom. Right, so I just brought the D up an octave there from where it was down for the bass, so it's still the same notes in the harmony. And now we should be able to listen through the whole thing. Use a transition. Yeah, I like that. Ah, man, it's okay. Don't overthink it. I like this as the day. Cool. That's the day. I'm going to see you in the next lesson where I'm going to make a night version of this here theme. I'll see you there. In the last lesson, you saw me create a by the seat of my pants rough draft quick start version of my first ever town theme based on what I heard from Kakariko Village and Pallet Town, as well some creative ideas and cool things I found along the way. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the same town theme, same exact structure, same exact chords, same exact tempo, all very important when we're creating dynamic tracks, and we're going to take this and now create a night version for this same town. So if we were in a video game, you were in it during the day, you'd hear the day version, and then at night you would hear the night version. So I'm going to start off by actually saving this project as day. We'll call it V1. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to save a copy as town theme night V1. All right, and now here we are back in what is where we left it off from day. Now we want to go to night. So the idea between day and night is we're not going to change the harmony, we're not going to change the structure, we're not going to change the tempo. And this way a developer could actually bring the same exact track, have both lined up, and then switch back and forth or fade between both, depending on what time of day it is. So a couple of things I want to change. First of all, I don't want the arpeggios. Why don't I want the arpeggios? Because that's this feeling of movement. So instead, I want to keep the harp because that's like part of the character of what we've heard so far. What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the harp and just actually have it play chords. And I'm going to have it play, instead of this little arpeggio thing up front, I'm just going to have it play the first 4 chords. And we might increase the harmonic rhythm here. We're going to take a listen to it. Yeah, it's reduced some of the reverb there. I like the way it's going krung. I forget the exact name for that in music. When you go, it's not quite an arpeggio, but it's like a very, very fast arpeggio. Yeah, let's bring the decay down a little bit. It is quantized, okay. Now I want to give the flute the violin part, and I want to give what was the flute to like a glockenspiel, which we might layer with something. Like we might actually bring the electric piano in to support the chords here. Let's see if I've got a glockenspiel here in the, that's interesting. Well, at any rate, this is where the melody is going to be. I want to give the flute the counterpart. We might actually simplify that. Velocity difference. Also no bass. So I took the drive off, so it took the attack off the chords. Still getting a little pop here and there. Maybe we can compress that away. Let's see. Attack instant. There's the change in velocity. Alright, maybe bells will get us the sound. Sweet bells. Nope. Nope. Actually, that's still a little out of tune. I don't really like that. It's close though. That's pretty. Oh, some of these notes are too low for the flute. Interesting. Yeah, I still feel like I want like a real, like something glass or something metal. Okay, interesting. What happens if we bring this up? Okay, better. Now, this harp. What if we simplified this whole thing here, because the flute's not able to play it. It's not in the range. Okay, that'll work for here. That'll work for here. So like what's the smallest thing I can do? It's working. All right, let's listen to what we have here. If we want to add anything. What if we just had this as the intro? Yes. And I don't want that movement there. Who did that? It's like, who played that flat 7? Get him! There we go. Neither one of these were mixed or mastered. Yeah, there you go. And that's the night theme. Like, what else am I going to do? I sit here for another 2-3 hours to figure out stuff. Obviously, both of these need to be mixed, and they need to be mastered. They need to be leveled out relative to each other, but there you go. A lot easier once you have the first one, huh? I mean, I'm keeping this simple too. Like, I'm not going in trying to be fancy, trying to do really complex stuff. I'm like, I have 90% of the stuff. Let me just switch some things around. Let me keep some of the same instruments. Change a little bit, take some of the high end off the harp, bring the harp way back, bring the electric piano in just to give this really sort of sleepy feeling. Like here, I can even add more reverb onto this. Let's see, is there a reverb? No, doesn't seem like it. Oh yeah, effects. I didn't have it on. I'm like turning buttons going like, what's happening here? Yeah, no, I've not used this reverb before, so I just figured out how to turn it on. I'm dialing in the reverb as much as I can without the notes overlapping too much. And there it is, folks. There you go. Town theme, day and night. My first ever I created. Talked you through every step of the way. Talked you through what I was thinking. There you go. I'll see you in the next lesson.